I don't know why the village council would be afraid of litigation from a $24 million a year company while they ekes out a $65 million a year company. I cannot believe you would make me audition for you. You look like clowns. I am not bluffing. I will take it all off the table. That's all.
Comedian Dave Chappelle, unfortunately, put a stop to a construction project that would have developed affordable housing in the community that he lives in, Yellow Springs, Ohio. Now, he made his objection to this project clear, and as you can see, pretty forceful about how he objected to the project. And it wasn't the first time he objected to the construction of affordable housing in this community. And obviously, let me be clear, there are other community members who attended that meeting who were against it as well. Now, just to give you some background and context, the village initially asked for the development to advance affordable housing in the village, including an area that the village would later be able to develop into affordable housing, as well as more duplexes and townhomes. After complaints from numerous residents, including comedian Dave Chappelle, Village Council voted 2-2 with one abstention on the revised planned unit development zoning. So what does that mean exactly? Well, the developer here, known as Oberer Homes, can move forward with a new development in Yellow Springs, but without the affordable housing component initially promised to the village. That means the zoning reverts to what was previously approved. 143 single family homes on the lot, with the homes starting at about $300,000 according to village documents. Initially, the development would have included the land that would be allocated specifically for the affordable housing to be built at a later time, which, to be honest with you, that wording I was a little skeptical about. Like, why not get started with the affordable housing immediately? Why are they planning on getting to that later? That raised a few red flags for me. But members of the community, including Dave Chappelle, seem to have a problem with the idea of developing that affordable housing and also, housing that would include duplexes, fourplexes. You get the point.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess he's jumped the shark. So this is terrible. So he's enraged that people that aren't incredibly wealthy might live next to him. So he won. Congratulations, Dave. So now there's going to be 143 single-family homes, and only single-family homes. If you can't afford a home like that, that's your problem, not Dave's problem. And each of those houses start at least $300,000, okay? And so no poor people for you, all right? So congratulations, Dave Chappelle, champion of the incredibly wealthy and the business owner, CEO Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle is active in his community. Dave Chappelle is a rich black man who spends money on his community. His community is not multi-millionaires. Dave Chappelle is minding his own business, dealing with his own town stuff. But because Dave Chappelle was a target of cancellation, and because he's an old guy who disagreed with something, he's not even sure what the politics that are trying to cancel him are exactly. Because he's not 100 million% progressive and on the agenda, despite being progressive and being for a number of things and being pro, trans people living their life free and blah, 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 and whatever, because he doesn't fit some narrative. Now, every time Dave Chappelle does something that sounds like it could be bad, it by definition should be bad. TYT is becoming embarrassing. I don't know if it was embarrassing when I was a kid.
I am Puppy Love! Puppy Love! Let's rise up and remove the Republicans. Remove the Let's remove the Republicans. Let's remove the Republicans. Let's remove the Republicans. 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 Remove the Republicans from office. We should remove the Republicans. 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 For we are not dumb. For we are not dumb. For we are not dumb. And the light of this life boy will show us the way in a pseudo-realistic fashion. Because I'm being aesthetic and being sorta cool. Look at that light, isn't it like the sun? I am Poppy the love. Trust me, you should remove the Republicans. Remove the Republicans. Oh, oh, oh.
Yeah, that was me. That was me like in 2014. Literally. What puppy to love? For he's part werewolf. Yeah. Seriously. You don't get more conservative when you get older. You get tired of noticing all the bullshit in every field, not just the Republicans. Republicans are historical supervillains. Everybody knows it. But then you get a little bit older and you start to get a sense of how supervillainy the Democrats are. And you notice how stupid everything is. And then someone invents a phantom chair and everything is fucked. And you just don't give a fuck anymore. Like, year after year and year and year and year and year and year, you give a fuck, then you stop giving a fuck because it's too much of a disappointment and it's not worth your time. It is so not worth your time. It is so not worth my time. It's repetitive bullshit. I mean, sometimes you get... I mean, TYT is one of the better channels for progressive stuff, right? But you start realizing, hey, that guy's not a whatever bad thing he or she is today, and that situation isn't that racist. That situation has more nuance. And now you're like old people on stupid news sound kind of reasonable about some things. You still wouldn't vote for them because you know that Republicans equals bad economy and higher taxes on 99% of everyone. But you get it. You get why they're annoyed by some things. And yeah, the NRA is a bullshit organization, but you do kind of realize how stupid the Democrats are and how lacking in any specific policy they are about anything. Progressives, they might have a policy, they might be specific, they might have specific things that they want to do, but any generic Democrat, any generic young person who seems aesthetically progressive because he's talking about stuff, they're not guaranteed to give you any information. They're usually inexperienced, don't know everything about what they're talking about, think they know more than anyone else. They probably know a lot more than the regular guys, but you hear stupid shit like a gun company being sued by the parents of dead children because that gun company had its rifles in video games, and you're like, what the fuck is this draconian bullshit? Yeah, video games don't cause violent behavior. It is psychological, actually. And yeah, Republicans are a major cause of why crazy young people get so angry. But at the same time, libs are often very responsible for their anger. Like, bad movies become bad because rich people who are up their own asses go into things. They have no experience. They hire people with a YouTube following who have even less experience. And it's all just like one big clusterfuck. And then they invent bullshit like Luke Skywalker is a problematic person or something. Like, Indiana Jones is not a representation of male oppression of women. James Bond is not a representation of male oppression of women. Luke Skywalker is a teenager is a guy in his 20s from the 1970s who wanted to leave home and become a pilot. Yeah, he wanted to become a pilot, but his story is like, he's a good-natured person and his family dies, and then he goes on an adventure to stop the Nazis. The space Nazis are bad. Like, this is why we can't have nice things, because media people are actually lazy, and when we're younger, we think everything that sounds like it might be great must be great, and anyone who does not 100% think like we do, they must be super Republican, and anything that sounds kind of Republican must be bad, because bad things, and I don't like Republicans. Republicans are historically super villains. Never mind the nuance, never mind anything.
Which, to be honest with you, that wording I was a little skeptical about. Like, why not get started with the affordable housing immediately? Why are they?
He makes it sound like, oh, the city council's doing this to him, and they made him go and speak there. Like, when they should already know that a wealthy baron has already spoken. How dare you have me come out here and audition for you?
So
I'm gonna pull my $65 million from you. Do you know how wealthy I am?
Which, to be honest with you, that wording I was a little skeptical.